Scene 1, Apple, take 1.
Notice the behavior of the flame. Normal. Responsive. Normal. Responsive. Normal. Responsive. Normal. Responsive. Look how close my finger is to the flame. It's not burning. And the thing is, when you're projecting yang energy, it causes the, like say I'm projecting the yang energy this way towards the receiving hand, the open receiving hand, which is a typical motion for you're receiving, you're in a yin state, the open hand, and the pointing is a very yang action to project energy. It's actually a martial arts attack that you can do using pointing. Notice how it pushes, it actually responds with the behavior of the pushing the flame towards the yin, and the finger is in fact protected from the heat of the candle. Now, I mean, obviously if I was to put my hand on top of the candle, I'm gonna, chances are I'm gonna get burned. The heat always has to go somewhere. You have to remember this if you're considering learning about shielding, heat shielding. The heat doesn't just disappear. It is a potential in a system. It has to either be changed into something else, so channeled into some sort of movement, or it has to be directed. Another thing to consider when you're doing this type of training is, if you think or you have fear of getting burnt, it's almost as though that fear gets actualized, and it will draw the heat, the heat that is being directed. You'll draw the heat that's being directed in one direction towards the place you don't want it to go and burn you. Now, I don't want you to go and burn yourself and then blame it on something that I've said, so be very careful. Obviously, have some water around so that you can, you know, if something happens, you can get some water on it quickly. But if you are going to do this sort of training, it really helps to look at the behavior of the flame when you project different types of energy, and you really need to get a solid understanding of what yin energy feels like and what yang energy feels like. Inner body meditations can help with this. You need to do some research. You need to educate yourself. If you're not doing the research, you will struggle. So definitely set some time aside and learn what the properties of yin are. That way, when you start to produce it or project it as a property in your biofield, you will feel it. And the same goes for yang. These properties are very useful, and I find the flame is very responsive to a switch between the two. Like you can use a yin field to draw to draw the heat towards you, or a yang field to almost shield your finger and not be burned. It's very important to understand these things when you're doing training. Pulsing doesn't require that you're right next to the flame. You can do it from a reasonable distance apart. Notice how the flame can be directed away from your fingers, pushed almost, so that the heat is directed away. This finger configuration is very good for projecting a yang based energy, and the open hand is good for acting as a yin based receiver. So the energy will be flowing from here to here. When you do exercises like the body meditation for psi balls, things like that, this is what's happening. You're sending, receiving, and causing biofield resonance between your two hands. The flame is a useful tool to show biofield resonance because you can produce a pulsing effect in the actual flame, as I'm doing there. You can see the flame being directed from the point to the receiver. Well, hopefully you can see this on the camera. Alternatively, you see when the yang is being projected from this side, the flame will typically point on an angle in this direction.